Hello, welcome back to our channel. Today, we're looking at the 12th episode of the epic story Heart of a Phoenix, titled The Reluctant Eavesdropper. And man, the tension is just off the charts. So let's just dive right into this totally chaotic opening. Picture this, our protagonist, Ariana, is sitting smack in the middle of this incredibly tense dinner table drama. She's desperately trying to keep up her alias as Anna, just a simple village girl. Now, she's already on super thin ice because she just delivered an Eternity Stone, a super rare magical artifact, saying it was for a friend. The rest of the group, especially Jake, who just loves to tease, starts poking holes in her story, joking that she's slow or shy. What they don't know, her master had literally been drilling the magical phoenix dance into her all week long, and her feet are covered in blisters. But in her absolute scramble to explain herself and wave off Jake's jokes about Prince Warwick, disaster strikes. Suddenly, a loud thump echoes through the room. She knocks over an amber glass, panics, lunges to catch it, and totally smacks her head against the table corner. It completely derails the entire conversation.
But guess what? The real shocker of the night isn't Ariana's clumsiness. It comes from the notoriously stoic Crown Prince, Warwick. Jake is casually bringing up the past, right? He mentions how Warwick broke off his engagement with the famously disgraced Ariana Grace years ago, and Warwick, looking as chiseled and completely unbothered as ever, just takes a slow sip of his wine and drops an absolute bombshell with two deadpan words. I didn't. I mean, wow. The entire table literally freezes. They need a solid minute to even digest what he just said. Then the silence breaks, and utter shock just takes over. Jake is practically foaming at the mouth. He leans right over the table, hammering Warwick with questions. Apparently, the breakup papers were drawn up when Ariana was banished, but Warwick casually reveals he just never signed them. And this is classic Jake. He immediately jumps to the most dramatic romantic conclusion possible. He points his finger and wildly guesses that the godlike crown prince refused to sign the papers because he's secretly in love with Ariana Grace. Meanwhile, Ariana is sitting right there in her little disguise, and her heart completely stops. She realizes she's still technically his fiancée. And right in front of her, this fierce debate explodes. We get two drastically different takes on the absent Ariana. Gazelle, who very clearly harbors a massive crush on the prince, is basically screaming that it's impossible, bluntly declaring that Ariana is completely useless. But Jake fires back, arguing that Warwick must have spared her because she's just so beautiful. It's crazy. They are openly debating her worth, totally oblivious to the fact that the subject of their intense gossip is sitting right across from them, under a fake name, fighting the insane urge to either shake Warwick for an explanation or, to her own horror, kiss him. So the dramatic irony here is absolutely peaking. Ariana just can't take the gossip anymore. Without even thinking, she blurts out to defend herself, saying, no, of course he's not in love with, and she barely bites back the word me before exposing her whole identity. But the damage is done. In a flash, every single gaze at that dinner table violently swivels away from the prince and locks directly onto Anna. You know that awful, heavy silence when you realize you've just said way too much? Yeah, that. Ariana desperately tries to backtrack. She groans, literally puts her head down on the table to hide, and mutters at them to just go back to what they were talking about. And Gazelle, who is absolutely burning with jealousy at this point, completely ignores her and turns back to Warwick. She demands an answer. Why didn't he do it? Why didn't he officially break up with her? To Gazelle, Prince Warwick is this untouchable royal god. And Ariana? Well, Gazelle thinks Ariana lost her true phoenix blood, has zero spiritual essence, and is destined to just grow old and wrinkled, like any regular mortal. She deems her completely unworthy. Then things take a much darker, much more painful turn for our protagonist. Jake, sounding all forlorn, brings up the tragic downfall of Ariana and uses that awful, pity-filled nickname she was branded with, Failure Ariana. I mean, just imagine sitting there in disguise, silently raging, while people who don't even really know you recount the absolute worst trauma of your life, going from being the greatest spiritual genius seen in generations to losing it all at just 8 years old and becoming an absolute joke. It really highlights this massive gap between what the world believes and the actual truth. Gazelle actually smirks and repeats the vicious rumor spread by the Monroe family that the Grace family's own greed pushed Ariana too far, making her manifestation go wrong and causing her phoenix blood to explode. And Jake actually agrees with her. But inside her head, Ariana knows the bitter reality.
Madeline didn't just steal her true phoenix blood. She blamed the victims, stole her fame, and spread those vicious lies. And Ariana just has to sit there and swallow that massive injustice. But this, right here, is where we see Ariana's true strength. Despite her blood literally boiling and the sheer humiliation of this dinner conversation, she doesn't break her cover. She centers herself entirely on her ultimate goal, securing the Immortal Spirit Fruit. She knows that revealing herself just to correct the record or yell at Gazelle would destroy everything. She needs complete anonymity to get her hands on that prize. Honestly, it's a total masterclass in self-control. Okay, let's jump ahead to the dead of night, where the story yanks us right out of the emotional drama and straight into imminent physical danger. Ariana is exhausted and falls asleep, but suddenly she jolts awake. Her instincts are just screaming at her that a threat is coming. And when she opens her eyes, Jake happens to be looking right at her. What he sees completely shakes him. Instead of a sleepy, scared village girl, he sees a flash of steel in her eyes, this cold, terrifying, battle-hardened killer instinct that's only forged by cheating death in countless battles. Jake is deeply unsettled by this. He's asking himself, wait, is she really just a village girl? He actually rubs his eyes, totally convinced he must be seeing things, or still half asleep. He quickly talks himself out of what he just witnessed. In his mind, there's absolutely no way that Anna, the totally normal, non-magical tag-along of the group, could possess the fierce gaze of a high-level spiritual master. So, he rationalizes it away, completely missing the massive clue sitting right in front of him. And the team just keeps underestimating her. Pete, who is basically the cold, emotionless rock of the group, marches over, frowns at Jake, and delivers this incredibly harsh warning. Be responsible and don't be a burden to the team. Ariana knows exactly what Pete is doing. He's talking directly to her. Deep down, he is firmly convinced she's nothing more than a dangerous liability in the dark, a helpless mortal who is absolutely going to get them all killed. This sets up such an agonizing choice for Ariana. Think about it. On one hand, she is secretly a level 5 master. She actually has a specialized monster repellent right there in her pocket that could ward off these approaching obsidian wolves without even breaking a sweat. She could save everyone instantly. But on the other hand, her fake persona demands she act like a harmless, terrified rabbit. If an ordinary village girl suddenly whips out high-level monster repellent, it exposes her training and totally blows her true identity to Prince Warwick. So, what does she do? She makes an incredibly difficult strategic choice, forcing back every single one of those finely honed combat instincts. Ariana masterfully plays the fool. The piercing gleam at her eye completely vanishes, and she cries out in this panicked, trembling voice, "What should I do? Am I going to die? I don't want to die." You know it's hurting her pride immensely, but she commits 100% to the useless cover story, keeping her eyes firmly on the prize, the Immortal Spirit Fruit. As Jake bravely pulls Ariana behind him to protect her, warning her that they're being followed, Ariana notices something that is honestly terrifying. She quickly scans the camp. Jake is there, Pete is there, Gazelle is still snoring away under her blanket, but Prince Warwick and Toby have completely vanished into the night. The absolute most powerful fighters in their entire group are just gone, right when the danger finally shows up. Then Jake drops some major lore on us, explaining exactly who is hunting them in the dark. The Dark Court. And let me tell you, these aren't just random bandits looking for coin. They are the dregs of the previous dynasty, a highly organized group absolutely devoted to overthrowing the Mystic Valley monarchy. They are dedicated saboteurs who have somehow managed to track the prince deep into Mystic Valley territory. And they definitely haven't come alone. They are accompanied by incredibly powerful elders. And guys, the threat level goes from bad to worse. Jake reveals that this assassination squad isn't just a bunch of elders. They are being led by Harry Norton, the sacred son of the Dark Court. Harry Norton is no foot soldier. He is a direct, terrifying rival to the Crown Prince. His power rivals that of Prince Warwick himself. We are talking about a clash of absolute titans here, and currently, Warwick is nowhere to be found. Now, the episode just races toward this terrifying climax. The clouds part, a beam of moonlight hits Ariana's face, and Jake spots movement in the shadows. A pack of deadly obsidian wolves, these horrifying creatures specifically created by Harry and his dark elders, begin to prowl out of the darkness, heading directly toward our completely exposed group. The trap has officially been sprung. Which leaves us with one heck of a cliffhanger. The wolves are closing in, Warwick is missing, and the rest of the team still thinks Ariana is completely helpless. How on earth will Ariana survive this deadly wolf pack without using her repellent and revealing her hidden phoenix power to the world? That is a huge question we'll have to answer next time. If you like the story, please like and share it, and subscribe to the channel to watch future episodes. Thanks for watching!